friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about all of the wish list plants I got this year. So, I had 10 houseplants on my 2024 plant wish list, and gonna be honest here, I got 8 of them this year. 8 out of 10 wish list plants. So freaking exciting. I am absolutely in love with all of them, and I thought it'd be fun to share all of them with you and just like share the excitement because they are really, really cool. I will say, however, my houseplant wish list was fairly attainable in 2024. I didn't have anything on there that was like far out of bounds, would cost me like thousands of pounds or anything like that. That just, that wasn't anything I was looking for. I wasn't trying to like stretch myself, if that made sense. All of these things I felt like I could probably get this past year, and for most of them I did. Maybe I need to make next year's wish list harder. Treat it like a scavenger hunt. But before we get into it, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. And I mean, y'all have seen every single one of these plants over the course of this year, but I wanted to join them all into one video and show you everything that I got. Also, I should note that most of these plants I was able to get for free, whether that be in swaps, in collaborations with brands, or through gifting, that kind of thing. I did buy, I think, a couple of them, but for the most part I was able to work the system, not in like a cheeky way, and like I tried to swap for them where at all possible. So very proud of myself for that too. So okay, let's get into it. First off, we have this beautiful creature here. This is a Hoya Wilbur Graves, and this is one that I actually had on my 2023 wish list that I didn't end up getting, so I brought that forward. It was one that I was still really keen on trying to get my hands on, and I am so glad that I have been able to. So I have 2 plants in this pot actually. This one, which is just a single leaf, as well as this tall one. And both of these I didn't buy, so I swapped for the big one at, I think, the Birmingham plant swap? Or was it Hull? Oh my gosh. It was one of the two. I swapped for this one, but I was able to get it that way. And this one was very kindly sent to me by one of my followers this year, actually in like January. So they saw my wishlist plant video and they're like, I can help with that, which I very, 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 very much appreciate. And I do try and pay forward as well. I'm not just like over here hoarding plants that I'm getting from all of y'all and not paying for it. I do send plants to people very regularly for like next to nothing or nothing at all. Anyways, I'm so glad I was able to get my hands on this one, and it's doing so well. These tiny little leaves at the top here have actually been sun stressed by my cabinet. You can see all of the silver bits are pink, and I had it just like quite close to a grow light. I have since moved it slightly further away because I want it to maybe not be as pink. I mean, I think the pink is cute, but I do like, the reason I got the Wilbur Graves is for this lovely silver foliage, so I don't feel like I need to sun stress this one. In fact, I'd prefer if I didn't. The other Hoya I had on my list that I brought forward from 2023, I didn't end up getting. It was the Hoya SP Rangsan, which I do still really want, and I think I'll have to carry it over onto my wish list this coming year as well. I honestly haven't seen any Hoya Rangsan, as far as I know, this year. None for sale. I haven't seen any at swaps, so maybe they're just slightly more difficult to find here in the UK. I'm trying, but I'm also like not like actively seeking things out. I'm trying to like just see what I get, see what comes my way, because if it's coming my way, it's meant to be, and if it doesn't, that's okay as well. So carrying the Rangsan on forward to the next year. I'll make a whole video on my 2025 wish list because I have put a lot of plants on a list that I really want. So that'll be in the new year. But The other Hoya that I have on the list that I did end up getting, this one wasn't brought forward from 2023, this was just one from this past year. It is a Hoya Polyera Baro. And I got one, actually, from the same person who gave me the Wilbur Graves, or swapped the Wilbur Graves with me. They gave me this one, and I'm just like obsessed with this one. It's also, I just noticed this, putting out 2 new leaves right there. Oh my goodness, so freaking exciting. And I love the variegation on this one. Mine isn't like incredibly silver, but it's like just the right amount where it's not like overpowering it. It just looks beautiful and I absolutely love it. And I mean, I think it's doing well. I haven't actually ever repotted it. I think it's got some roots going on. I did repot the Wilbur Graves, so maybe now would be a good time to repot this one as well. Pop it in some chunky soil. I know the soil that this one is in is like super duper chunky and aerated. It's got loads of leca in it, which I would never think to put in soil, but like I don't see why it wouldn't be good for it. So anyways, very excited to have added the Polyera Baro into my collection this year. And if I can get it to grow as big as my big Polyera, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Or I'd actually be perfectly happy joining them together into one plant because they essentially need the same care. This one probably just needs slightly more light. I would not be opposed to that at all. Oh, also, sorry, I'm just looking back on my old video. The other one that I wasn't able to get was a Hoya Carry Splash, which I still very, very much so want, but I don't feel like an intense need for it. I feel like they're fairly similar to the Obovata Splash in vibes, and I'm loving my Obovata Splash, so I'm really not too worried about getting one. If I have the opportunity, if it presents itself, I'm not gonna deny it, but I'm not like actively searching, if that makes sense. Next on the list was my Euphoria Lacti Ghost. I think it's pronounced Lacti. I never know. So if I am wrong, pretty please tell me how to pronounce this word because it's spelled Lacti. So I'm gonna say it as Lacti or Lasti. I don't know. So I was very, very kindly sent one, like a nice big rooted cutting of one earlier this year, but unfortunately I had a lot of issues with it and I wasn't able to keep it alive. And so in the middle of this year, I decided to treat myself with one. And this is actually one of the few plants I've bought in this list. Actually, I've got 2 plants in this list that I have purchased for myself. And this was one of them just because I really, really, really wanted one. And I think for me with them, I decided that propagating cacti and succulents, I'm still not at the point where I can do that confidently enough to like do a wish list plant, if that makes sense. I just really struggled with it. But since buying a proper whole one, I am so impressed by this plant. It has grown so much for me in that time. I think pretty much all of these side bits, except for maybe that one, weren't here before. I grew those myself. I mean, I say myself, I put it in front of a grow light and it decided to grow them, which I am not mad at. In fact, I'm very, very pleased with it, as well as these 2 down here and some new growth off of this arm. It has just been growing so steadily for me over the course of this year, and I didn't quite realize how fast it would grow. It has grown so fast, and I absolutely love it. It has also grown extremely white. You can see the growth here that's all a bit yellow. That has grown in very, very white compared to some of the bits which have a bit more green in. I don't know if I mean, I guess that is the whiter side in general, because if you look down at the bottom, at least on this side, the bottom here, this whole side is very, very white, whereas this side has more chunks of green in it. So maybe the new growth, the new growth that's growing on this side has more green in it. So it's kind of like slightly half moony, where this side is all very, very white. So I absolutely love this one. I've actually not even potted it into semi-hydro, which I have done for all of my other cacti and succulents for the most part, just because it's been growing so well. Why would I want to disturb it? Like, I don't want to risk it at all. Like, it makes me just a little bit nervous since it's doing so well. Why would I want to change it? So I haven't yet. I don't know if I ever will. If it continues to grow as well as it has, I'm not going to, but I mean, I'm just watering the soil like once a month as well, not even that frequently. I'm obsessed with this one and so glad that I've been able to add it to my collection and just like, oh, I love it so much. I love all of these plants on this list so much. They're just like, they're everything I've wanted. They were my wish list plants. It makes sense that I'm obsessed with them all. This next plant, I'm kind of gonna half count that I have received because I got something that I think is actually kind of better, in my opinion. So one of my wishlist plants was a Synapsis mayari, and I do still really want one, but I have filled that variegated Synapsis void in my collection this year by adding this one. So this one here was given to me by one of my plant friends, or swapped for with one of my plant friends. It is a Synapsis Centaurum, which is a really uncommon type of Synapsis that you really can't find in the UK at all. And it is growing so well for me. I am absolutely obsessed with it. I've been like sharing it all the freaking time because this new leaf that's coming in, I am pretty freaking positive. I mean, it's still not fully developed yet, but the Polyera variegation on this one, I think it's going to show that almost all of this side of the leaf is going to be variegated, and then this side is going to be dark for the most part. I think that's the case. That's what it looks like it's going to happen. I mean, I don't mind. I'm not too picky with variegation, but I just think it's so cool, and I'm so excited that it has continued to grow variegation on it. That's like always a worry when you get a variegated plant, especially as a cutting, that the new growth in it isn't going to come in variegated, and I'm so glad this one has. So it's kind of filled in that variegated Synapsis void that I had. And I'm not saying that I'm never going to get a mayari, but they are still really expensive as well. And I'm sure this one would be expensive had I purchased it, but that's the joy of having plant friends. They keep eyes on things for you, and if they have something that you might want, sometimes they give you a little swapsy or a gift, and it's really fun. So I am obsessed with this one, and I'm so glad that I have it, and I cannot wait to see how this leaf turns out. Literally every new leaf on a variegated Synapsis is so much fun because it is polarized. So it's coming out, and I'm like, oh no, it's all the way green, but it's not. It just hasn't developed yet. It takes time to get there and develop the beautiful variegation on it. So very excited about that. The next plant is one that I got myself for my birthday. I had basically spent the entirety of the year up until June not spending any money on houseplants, and I thought I deserved a little bit of a birthday reward. And so I ordered myself a gorgeous variegated rafida tetrasperma. And it is doing really well. I think when I got it, it only had a couple of leaves on it, but it is growing like all of my other rafida tetraspermas have, just like so incredibly quickly. Also, I have noticed that some leaves don't have variegation on them. Like, I feel like this leaf, the newest leaf, has come in without any. Maybe it's similar to Synapsis in that it's Polaroid, because I swear I've had other leaves come out in the past that I felt like weren't variegated, but now that I'm looking, every single one of these leaves has at least some variegation, even if it's not super duper prominent. There's still some in there. I mean, I think this leaf is probably my other least variegated leaf, but even still, it has like tiny little spots of it here and there. So I'm not worried about this one. I'm not worried that it's going to revert or anything. It's just been super duper chill and really easygoing as a plant. So very happy with it. I'm not surprised because rafida tetraspermas are just like some of the chillest plants anyway. I mean, you can see mine here. It is absolutely huge. Oh my goodness, could you imagine if this one got that big with the variegation in it? That would be That would be so, so cool. So one day that could happen. I also have another rafida for tetrasperma in the office, which isn't on a pole, that I could potentially join this one in with. But I like that that one's like I'm not worried about it because it doesn't get tons and tons of light. Whereas this one, I kind of want to make sure it's getting very good light in order to continue growing good variegation, just because I am a little bit more nervous with this one. And you know what I love about this? This plant a few years back would have been like tens of thousands of pounds, literally 12,000 pounds of variegated rafida tetrasperma sold for. Mind blowing, I know. But I got this for less than 100. I'm pretty sure it was like 50 or 60 pounds or something, which I'm not mad at. I was perfectly happy paying for it. I should probably pot it slightly deeper because it is a little bit wobbly here. But it's a very, very happy one, and I'm glad I've been able to add it to my... Oh my god, yeah, I really need to repot this. I'm glad I bought it for myself for my birthday. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. This next one is the biggest plant from my wish list that I got this year. She's absolutely massive. I'll put you on this side so you can see better because there's slightly more contrast. It's huge. So this is the Alocasia heterophila dragon's breath, which was on my wish list. I was happy either getting the heterophila silver or the dragon's breath. I wasn't too fussed about it, but I got this one in my Grow Tropicals haul earlier this year. I think it was my first haul of the year, potentially. It was a very long time ago at this point. I'm pretty sure it was like May, but I am obsessed with this one. It has grown so well for me. I'll insert a clip of what it looked like right when I got it. It was so much smaller, so much more condensed at the bottom, and at the time, I thought it was huge. I thought that was huge. And now, I swear it has tripled in size since I got it. And I love every single new leaf that comes out of this one. It is putting out so many new leaves. And they come out super duper shiny as well. I feel like you can see it best there. They just like come out a little bit more shiny. And then they harden off to be slightly more matte. It's just such a beautiful one, and I love how like long and skinny these leaves are. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I was able to add this to my collection because it is so pretty. And so far it's been living fine in my greenhouse cabinet, in my Mills bow. I probably am gonna have to take it out at some point because it has gotten so big, but I feel like this one would look amazing just like as a centerpiece on a table. I mean, mine is very much so one-sided because that's how I grow it basically. But if I brought it out to like somewhere else in my house where it had like, it wasn't like up against a wall or something, I feel like I could make this a very beautiful, evenly spaced one. I would have to get like a turntable or something for it. But yeah, I really love this one, and I can't wait to see how much it grows in this next year because it's already just like done the absolute most this year. Also, it's produced so many corms in there. There's so many that I'm just gonna have so many heterophila babies going forward. That's definitely gonna be something I get to bring to future swaps just because I can't have too many of these around my house. I mean, maybe I could probably have multiples of this because I love it so much. The other Alocasia I actually also got in that same Grow Tropicals order when I did that video with them earlier this year. And it is a variegated Alocasia macrorrhiza, which I think it's doing pretty well. It has definitely gotten taller and leggier since I got it. And I think part of that is because it wasn't necessarily in the best of light before I got it, before I did that thing with my cabinet where I put those Barina lights in. But now it is like right under one of those. And I feel like that's gonna help it grow like more compact, slightly less leggy. But the thing with the macrorrhiza is they can grow massive. Obviously, mine hasn't done that yet. I have my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping that down the line I can get it to grow massive. But they can grow like big portadora size leaves, like huge. And if I could have a gigantic variegated macrorrhiza, That is literally goals. Hopefully down the line I can get this one to do that. But like I said, now that it's getting more light, it'll hopefully go in that direction. But up until now, I've not necessarily been giving it the like sort of ideal space that it deserves, which is a little bit sad. I should be giving my wishlist plants, especially like prime real estate in my home. And I'm kind of not mad at myself for not doing that, but like I could have been better. So going forward, now it's in a better place. That sounds like it's passed away. It is in a better place in my home, and hopefully it will continue to do well. It's got a new leaf coming out too, so it's definitely happy in there. I just want it to be its happiest self. So going forward, we can keep our fingers crossed and hope that I am able to make that happen. And then the final plant on my 2024 houseplant wish list was this little guy. It is a variegated Thanksgiving cactus. And this one was super kindly given to me by one of my followers at one of my plant swaps. They specifically trimmed it for me, which is like the absolute sweetest thing in the world. Like, it just makes me feel so loved that like y'all are out here watching my videos and seeing them and being like, oh, I could help with that. And I really hope that I am able to do the same for y'all. I really do. But this one was given to me as cuttings. I did have another one that was given to me earlier in the year in January. I think it was like 3 cuttings, and y'all saw that slowly decline over the course of the year. I showed that quite a lot over that time, and unfortunately it didn't make it. And so I'm being extremely, extremely careful with this one. I really, really want it to succeed, and I think it has. I feel like the cuttings in here have rooted. Like, they don't just pull out like they would if it hadn't rooted in there, and it's giving me new growth. So that is something to be glad about. There's like the tiniest bit of new growth on that one as well. Super, super cute, super sweet. I know I mentioned this in one of my recent videos, I probably should have potted it into a clear vessel so I could keep an eye on the roots. Maybe I will repot it soon. And I've had it under a cloche as well, so it's been staying very, very moist, which is what I find super duper important when you are propagating jungle cacti, and I think that has helped it a lot. It also has got loads of fungus gnats, which is kind of gross, but like whatever, it'll be fine. I'm just so happy with this one, and feel so glad that I was able to like add it to my collection this year. So yeah, those are all the wishlist plants I got this year. Like I said, I've done phenomenally on my houseplant wishlist. I was able to get almost all of them, and I feel extremely grateful about lots of these being gifts and swaps. I really, really appreciate, and I feel so loved, like knowing that y'all are out here thinking of me. I feel like I would never ask that of anyone, but it just warms my little heart that y'all think of me and want to like help broaden my collection. So thank you all so much for contributing towards my wishlist plant success this year. I'd also be really curious to hear whether or not y'all ticked things off of your wish list this year. Were there any like crazy big ones that you got, or even small things that you were really excited about that you were able to add to your collection this year? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below, and also leave a comment on any other houseplant things you'd like me to talk about in the future. If you want to know more on any of these plants, care videos, etc., let me know down below, and I can hopefully make that for you down the line, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and don't forget to keep growing